Good evening, America. Welcome to Battleground Live. From sea to shining sea and everybody in between, welcome to the show, Patriots. This is the live stream show on Rumble that's no holds barred. We lock horns and take the fight to the radical left on just about everything. And so if you're just joining the show or you're new to the live chat or you're listening to us for the first time, make sure you smash that like button. It's free for you. It helps the show immensely. It propels us to the leaderboard. We've made it to the leaderboard or onto the leaderboard several times in the last couple of weeks. That's because of you. So keep smashing that like button, that little green thumb beneath the video. If you're watching on your phone, you've got to close out of the live chat and you've got to hit the like button right there. Right there. The moment you close out of the live chat, you'll see it. If you're watching on your television set, you got to press up on the Roku remote and the like button is there. You can actually like the show on your TV now, which is kind of cool. So lots of discussion today in the live chat in the hour prior to the show about Trump's comments on the Medal of Honor. Now, the news cycle has been moving at lightning fast speed. And I have been having a difficult time planning the show, trying to figure out what I'm going to talk about in an hour and what I'm not. And I'm kind of like a one-man army when it comes to the show. And so, yes, I definitely need a little bit of a longer show. I've been trying to make this decision for a year now. But once you make a decision to go 2 hours, there ain't no going back. And the question for me is, do I go from 4 to 6 or do I go from 5 to 7? So I think I prefer starting at 4, but nevertheless, like we're still trying to evaluate whether or not that can work. I like keeping it to an hour, because I feel like we talk about things that are happening, and we cram it into an hour that's easily manageable for everybody. So we're thinking about that just so you're all tracking. Also, I found the sound of the Medal of Honor ceremony, and here's the thing: the Trump's Medal of Honor ceremony. The comments on the Medal of Honor. Have any of you all watched a Medal of Honor ceremony? Or I know a lot of you all that listen, watch this show are veterans yourselves. Have you ever been to a Medal of Honor ceremony? Jared Monty was in my brigade in Afghanistan in 2006. You heard me talk about my deployment to Afghanistan. It was hell. It was hell on earth. It was close combat for 485 days. My battalion was front towards enemy the whole time, and it was by far one of the toughest things that I've ever been put through. Jared Monty's unit came under fire. He was wounded in combat. He ended up dying, but performed what they call conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity in action on the battlefield. Ended up costing him his life. And that Medal of Honor ceremony was very, very heavy. All Medal of Honor ceremonies are very, very heavy. Even when, the person who receives the medal survives, you leave a part of yourself on the battlefield. So there is always an air, I don't want to say sadness, but it's heavy stuff, right? Because it's more complicated than just sadness. Of course, if you lose somebody on the battlefield, that stays with you forever. You're always sad because you love and you miss them, but you're also proud of them. So it's an emotionally heavy ceremony. And I want you to go into what Trump is about to say with that in mind, because Trump says things the way that he says them. And I'll give you a good example. My dad and I were watching the Army-Navy game a couple of years ago, and this was when President Trump was still in the White House. And my dad went to the Naval Academy, and I was an Army guy. So, we have a fun, they can get interesting at Thanksgiving at times, and the Army-Navy game is always fun. But my dad and I are sitting there watching. He's in his Navy shirt, and I'm in my Army hoodie. And the announcers are interviewing President Trump. And President Trump is saying what he typically does. Oh, this is amazing football. I love this football. It's like these kids, like, they're so patriotic, they love America. And then he was like, well, it's not the best football, but they try really hard. My dad and I looked at each other and we started laughing because we thought to ourselves, now, why we initially thought, like, why say something like that? What Trump, geez, why you say that? And then we started talking about it, and we realized that, like, Trump is right. It's like, if you've ever watched a football game between Army and Navy, it's not the best football. It's option football, a lot of running, So, to be fair, he's right, okay? And what Trump was talking about, now lest you listen to the full comments yourself, you can't listen to the media spin about this stuff, and I'll tell you why, okay? Because I'm just looking in real time on my phone. Exclusive. John Kelly rejects Trump's comments that civilian award is much better than Medal of Honor. Okay, all the YouTube videos. Trump says Presidential Medal of Freedom is better than the Medal of Honor. CBS News. Trump says Medal of Freedom equivalent and much better than the Medal of Honor. CNN. Trump says civilian award is much better than the Medal of Honor. Military.com. MSNBC. VFW admonishes former president for Medal of Honor remarks. I mean, so you can't trust the media spin here. What's important is the spirit that he made, the spirit with which he made the comments in. Now, I want you to listen to this for yourself. Okay? Check this out.
I have to say, Miriam, I watched Sheldon sitting so proud in the White House when we gave Miriam the Presidential Medal of Freedom. That's the highest award you can get as a civilian. It's the equivalent of the Congressional Medal of Honor, but civilian version. It's actually much better because everyone gets the Congressional Medal of Honor. That's soldiers. They're either in very bad shape because they've been hit so many times by bullets, or they're dead. She gets it, and she's a healthy, beautiful woman. It's right. And they're rated equal.
So you understand what President Trump is saying there. On the level of on the scale, and there's a scale for every medal. Medal of Honor is the highest, or Medal of Honor or Presidential Medal of Freedom is the highest civilian award that you can get, on the level with the Medal of Honor. He's not. The important thing here, folks, is, again, can't buy the media spin. The important thing is the spirit. President Trump was not disparaging Medal of Honor recipients. In fact, the guy whose tweet or post on X that I shared, he said, as a Marine, this is Josiah Lippincott, said, as a Marine, I can say that Trump is exactly right about the Medal of Honor. Getting that award means either your friends or comrades came back in body bags or effed up for life. No one should want that award. What Trump was saying was that, look, this is a Presidential Medal of Freedom. Like, hey, look, this award ceremony is not as heavy. You see what I'm saying? He wasn't disparaging. The media wants you to believe that President Trump was disparaging Medal of Honor recipients. He wasn't. He wasn't saying that one was better than the other. He was saying if the ceremony is better at all, is because it's like less heavy. Maybe an awkward way of phrasing it, but the guy loves our veterans. The important takeaway here is that he was not disparaging the military, and he was not disparaging Medal of Honor recipients. See, this is what the media likes to do. They like to take something that President Trump says and twist the spirit of it. So when President Trump makes a joke about something, clearly he's joking about it. The media twists it, acts as if he's serious. Oh, the dictator on day one is a perfect example. If you watch that interview with Sean Hannity, and Sean Hannity's asking him about, what do you have all these comments about being a dictator? What are you going to do? And you see this like little wry smile on Trump's face. He's like, well, I want to be a dictator on day one so he can drill, baby, drill, and close the border. And Hannity's like, no, don't. You don't want to do that. And Trump starts laughing like, see, I got you. Like, the media just goes out of their way to make President Trump look like a bad guy. Could he have phrased it more eloquently? Yeah, maybe. but like he didn't mean it in a negative way, and that is the point. And so that's what I want to impress upon you all who are watching this show. Okay, so can we pivot here for a second to the poly market betting odds? So this is really interesting. So this is like a poll, but it's not a poll because it's where the money people are putting their money. And in many ways, I kind of trust the poly market betting odds more than a lot of polls because people are in many ways putting their money where their mouth is, right? So 3 hours ago, the poly market betting odds are back to 49.49. At Kamala's peak, right? Like when everyone was flipping out and the Democrats were excited, there was all this response bias in the polls. I think there was like a 9 or 10 point gap. Kamala had spiked in the poly market betting. So 3 hours ago, it was 49.49. Now it's DJT plus 3. So my point is that the more people see Kamala Harris, the less they will like her. And last night was the first night of the Democrat National Convention. We're going to talk about that, of course, later in the show. But it's not just the more they see her. It's the more she talks about her policy. Now, there's a reason why elected Democrats do not want Kamala Harris putting a policy platform on her website. This has been reported many, many times over the last couple of weeks. They don't want her to release her policy proposals until after she wins. That's like a wolf saying to a bunch of sheep that, yeah, I'll be a vegetarian. I promise that after I win, I'll be a vegetarian. Give me a break, right? So the reason why the Democrats don't want her to release a policy platform is because they know her ideas are essentially communism and that the American people will see through them. Now, I've said since day one on this show that this election is really going to come down to the economy. Economy, inflation, and the border. Those are the top 3 issues. And this close to election day, I mean, look, lots can happen from now until election day, but the economy ain't getting fixed. Inflation ain't getting fixed. And the border, as of at least right now, ain't getting fixed. In fact, the Democrats are trying to campaign on the border. So, which also I told you about months ago. But it's about people's pocketbooks. It's about people, whether or not people can afford groceries. It's about being able to afford gas in your car. People can't in this economy right now. And Kamala Harris today just broadened her economic policy proposal and she endorsed Biden's capital gains tax proposal on her campaign. And that is a 45% long-term capital gains tax. That is by far the highest in the history of this country. You combine that with state taxes. I mean, many states, especially blue states, strangely enough, these radical Democrats just love being taxed. But you combine that capital gains tax with state taxes, you're well over 50%. That's insane. That's going to crush the economy. It's going to be more than a wet blanket, right? It's going to absolutely crush lower income, middle income families. And then she also proposed a 25% tax on unrealized capital gains for what she's saying are high net worth individuals. But of course, the operative question is, who the hell do these ass clowns believe who do they believe are high net worth? You know, it's like $100,000 a year, high net worth. I don't know. But here's what I do know. I don't like the government having the power to levy a tax on money that I haven't made yet and you haven't made yet. This will crush this country. And so that brings me to my next point at the top of the show, which I did not initially intend to start the show off this way, but so much of, look, I say that this is your show, right? I mean it. Like when we talk in the live chat and people have questions about stuff, like if you got questions about something that I got an opinion on, we will jump headlong into that first because this show is your show. And to the folks who are listening and watching for the first time, yeah, you bet I'm in the live chat with you all talking. And someone said in the live chat, oh, I haven't heard from a host before. I'm in the live chat with you all every single day from 4 to 5. And, you know, sometimes I'm a little bit late because things get a little crazy or I'm trying to pull video sound or assets for the show. But I'm always there with you, and I always will be because, like I said, this is your show. So let's get into the nuts and bolts of the 2024 cycle. RFK. Some very interesting things happening with RFK right now. I think Shanahan, or who is RFK's running mate, came out the other day. I think she actually talked about this today, about the possibility of RFK dropping out and throwing in behind President Trump. I'll let you listen to it for yourself, and then we'll discuss.
You know, there's two options that we're looking at, and one is staying in, forming that new party, but we run the risk of a Kamala Harris and Walz presidency, because we draw votes from Trump, or we draw somehow more votes from Trump, or we walk away right now and join forces with Donald Trump, and you know, we walk away from that and we explain to our base why we're making this decision. Not
walk away and join Donald Trump. Now, here's the deal. This is a real opportunity for President Trump. Now, if RFK gets out of this race and he endorses President Trump, there's no guarantee that all of his followers will endorse President Trump. So that's just something that you should keep on the back of your mind. However, the Democrats despise RFK. They despise him. The deep state, the intelligence community, the blob, they despise RFK. Now, ideologically, there are very, very few things that I agree with RFK about. Probably the same is true for President Trump. However, what they both share is something that, if not tackled directly head on by the next administration, an out-of-control, run-amok deep state. That out-of-control, run-amok deep state will consume this country. It will. It's out of control already. They've already interfered in our elections. Least transparent in the Biden administration in the history of our country. And it's only going to get worse. So my point is, there is some common ground with RFK here. If you can somehow, and I'm not saying give him a cabinet level position, but maybe that's what it is. You know, but maybe put him over Health and Human Services. How great would that be if RFK is looking over, you know, the Faucis of the world and the CDC? That, look, again, I'm just throwing ideas out there. My point is, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And it is true that in a state like Pennsylvania, I believe that RFK would hurt Trump more than it hurts Harris or Biden before her. Everything comes down to Pennsylvania. Trump has more paths to the White House without Pennsylvania, but the reason why I want Trump wins Pennsylvania, there's like nothing for the Democrats. It's very, that would mean Kamala would have to sweep Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, Wisconsin. I mean, like, it's a very, very tall order for the Democrats to get to the White House without the state of Pennsylvania. So you just got to keep that in mind. Okay. Also, because the deep state is against RFK, they go out of their way to marginalize this guy. So you have to ask yourself, if you're on RFK's campaign, you know, what's the point of this movement? What's the greatest impact we can have? And I think you have to ask yourself, if you're RFK, you know, is the deep state a threat? Well, I know the answer to that already. Yes, RFK believes that. Do you want to have a seat at the table in a potential Trump administration? Do you want to reform, you know, the way that vaccines are administered in this country? You want to have a seat at the table to discuss this stuff? You want to make sure that lockdowns never happen again? You want to make sure that vaccine mandates don't happen again? You have common ground. And the deep state is going to work overtime to keep RFK off of the ballot. So ask yourself, join forces and maybe have an impact, or be marginalized at every turn. Look at this video soundbite I found of RFK in Pennsylvania today. Of course, the Pennsylvania court system, disaster on a lot of levels, working overdrive to keep RFK off of the ballot. Listen.
And the judge did not give him time to come to court to testify. He was late through no fault of his own. We don't control airlines, and when an airline cancels a flight in Harrisburg, as you know, Flights into Harrisburg are far and few between, unlike Philadelphia, where this hearing was originally to be scheduled. Because of the transfer to Harrisburg, we had very few flight options. His flight was canceled, and for that reason and that reason alone, the judge decided can't testify. So that's sort of the end of it. I've never been in a situation where a canceled flight has resulted in a judge preventing a presidential any witness from testifying, given that we have the entire day set aside. Very easily could have had an adjournment to allow Mr. Kennedy to get here, and we could have presented our case in full.
I mean, the interesting thing about this is that judges, the case directly involves RFK and whether his name should be on the ballot. Judges very rarely stop something like this because now RFK can appeal, but the problem is the appeal won't be heard until after the election, and by then it will be moot, which is the whole point. I'm not throwing in with RFK, okay? Don't misunderstand me. I'm just trying to show you how the deep state is working to keep this guy marginalized. So if you can help President Trump get across the goal line, I think you should try to do it. Trump is somebody that can work across the aisle, that can work with people who aren't completely insane. Speaking of completely insane, President Trump took a question from a fake news reporter while up in Michigan today. And there's been this fake narrative of, Trump, he's going to a town that has roots in white supremacy. Never mind the fact that Biden went to the exact same town in 2021. Absolutely crickets by the media. But if you think that Trump is not on the top of his game, you would be wrong, because this dude, he is on fire, and he's doing extraordinary things on the campaign trail, and he's handling the media really well. Listen to this.
Thank you, everybody, very much.
Thank you for coming.
Who was here in 2021? Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
That's just how he answered the question. And by the way, did you see the look of the police officers behind? Like, when the reporter asked the question, the cops are just like, oh my God. Like, I watched a lot of these pressers today, and Trump is making jokes from the podium, and JD Vance is making jokes from the podium, like throwing political jabs at Walz and Harris. And all the while, like, cops are like stone-faced because they're not trying to be overly partisan. Of course, they're already endorsing and backing JD Vance and Donald Trump. Otherwise, they wouldn't be at the events. But they still don't want to get into the ground pounding of like back and forth, throwing shade. But did you see the cops roll their eyes when the reporter asked? I mean, you can tell cops are just sick of this bullshit. They're just sick of the fake news. They're sick of the reporting. They're sick of the fake reporting. And so people are over it. Okay, we're getting into the DNC next. It's just a clown show. Make sure you smash that like button, that little green thumb beneath the video. Also, I want to thank Florida for Trump for the Rumble Rant tip. Said for watching the DNC because I can't. I don't blame you. The DNC was an absolute clown show. We'll get into that in a second. But thank you for the Rumble Rant tip. Always very much appreciated. 100% of what we get in the live chat and tips for the show go back into the studio. Okay, so Genesis Gold. With so many options available for Americans to protect their retirement or wealth with physical or precious metals, it's very, very hard to know who to trust. Our partners at Genesis Gold Group are a faith-driven gold and silver company that is unabashedly America first. They don't try to hook people with free silver that isn't really free. Instead, they treat their customers with respect and help guide them to securing their retirement. So visit rumblegold.com. Just go to rumblegold.com. You can get this definitive gold guide. If you've got questions, hopefully the gold guide will answer them. You can also reach out to them. Ask them questions. Their job is just to coach you on what it's like investing in precious metals. The value of the dollar has plummeted over the last 20, 30 years. And look, I'm not an investment guy, but I got common sense. The value of gold and silver has held its value and has steadily been climbing. So if you have questions, definitely check out Genesis Gold Group. Visit rumblegold.com today. Get their free definitive gold guide. That is rumblegold.com. Also, Red Beach Nation, folks. Red Beach Nation is an awesome company because it's founded by a former counterterrorism officer, a veteran of the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. I mean, so this country is all about America. It's all about American exceptionalism. They share the values, the very same values that we all have in the Battle Crew and the McGroin Nation and everybody out there in America who believes this country is a shining city upon a hill. Red Beach Nation it's a conservative apparel company. It's also a beachwear company for freedom-loving Americans. So whether you live at the beach, you're traveling to the beach, or you just want to imagine yourself there, Red Beach's comfy patriotic apparel is sure to lift your spirits. Red Beach Nation, just pure Americana, spangly stuff. So come live the sand, surf, and freedom lifestyle with us. Head on over to redbeachnation.com. Use promo code Sean. That is SEAN. Save 10% off of your order. Again, that is redbeachnation.com, and use the promo code Sean, SEAN, to save 10% off of your order. Okay, the DNC was an absolute shit show. And a microcosm of the whole thing, I thought, was these ladies singing the national anthem. Listen to this.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad strides
This is like a total shit show, clown show. I mean, I've got friends who were there, and because conservative reporters and stuff go, they said the whole program was a disaster. The media credentialing was actually inside a credentialed area, so none of the actual reporters could get into the events because they couldn't get their credentialing, because the credentialing areas were behind a fence that required credentialing. I don't know. The whole thing was just a total disaster. And overshadowing the whole thing were these insane radical protests outside the arena. And this is relevant because, obviously because of what's going on between Israel, Hamas, and Iran, but also because the fact that Josh Shapiro was passed over for vice president. He was passed over. I know, the American people know, Josh Shapiro knows, because he's a Jew. And in the Democrat Party, just filled, the base of their party, just filled with pro-Hamas, pro-terrorist sympathizers in their base. And the Democrats said no to Josh Shapiro because they need those votes. But listen to Josh Shapiro addressing the anti-Semitism in his party. It's crazy. Listen.
Let me also be very clear here. Anti-Semitism played absolutely no role in my dialogue with the Vice President. Absolutely none. It is also true that anti-Semitism...
Well, no shit, Joshy. No shit. Like, absolutely should not surprise anybody that Kamala Harris did not have a phone conversation with Josh Shapiro and Kamala Harris say, hey, look, buddy, like, you're a Jewish man, and we just can't have that. Like, come on. Of course it wasn't said overtly, but damn well that that's exactly what it was. It's exactly what it was. You want to know why? It's because the Democrats need their votes. People like this. Listen to this.
You support Hamas?
Every Palestinian support Hamas, not just me. Every Palestinian support Hamas.
You support October 7th?
Who?
October 7th.
October 7? Yes, I do. What's wrong with October 7? You tell me.
Women and children.
What?
It's a murder.
What is this?
It's like, yeah, we support Hamas. Anybody that's Palestinian supports Hamas. But women and children, that's bull. You know what? Like, really think about that one for a second, folks. That the Democrats didn't pick somebody from what is the most important swing state, a governor in the most important swing state this election cycle, because he was a Jew, because they want votes from people like that guy. Seriously, who are outside the DNC protesting. That guy straight up, everyone from Palestine is everyone who's Palestinian is pro-Hamas. Everybody. And this is the people whose votes that they want. Just think about that. So Kamala Harris made a surprise appearance last night. Oh, I'm getting a flag from Aunt Cindy, Boston guy. Yeah, you're not happy with Trump picking a fight with Rogan. Yeah, I mean, look, you know how I feel. Oh my gosh, people are calling me nonstop on this show. You know what? I'm turning off my phone. This is driving me insane. Like, absolutely, positively driving me insane. Okay, yes, picking a fight with Rogan. Here's what I'll tell you about this. Trump Bill O'Reilly asked Donald Trump in his book, why the hell are you picking a fight with Rosie O'Donnell? Now, granted, Rosie O'Donnell does not have the platform that Joe Rogan has. I'm not saying that. This is just to give you a window into the mind of Donald Trump. If Donald Trump is attacked, it doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter the size of their platform. He has been like this for the last 50 years. He just attacks back. I don't know. Like, I'm with you. Like, you've heard me say many times on this show, Boston, how the Joe Rogan voters are really important. And they're important because they're not traditional politicos like all of us. He's got a massive audience, and we need those people. But yeah, listen, man, I hear you. Also, thank you for the Rumble Rant tip. I appreciate that very much. So Kamala Harris kicks off the DNC, makes a surprise appearance. And it's just, to me, it's just cringe because the whole thing is just fake. Fake candidate, fake campaign, fake super delegates, fake convention. Listen, watch.
Good to be with everyone this evening in this hall and everyone at home. This is going to be a great week. And I want to kick us off by celebrating our incredible President Joe Biden, who will be speaking later tonight. Joe, thank you for your historic leadership, for your lifetime of service to our nation, and for all you will continue to do. We are forever grateful to you.
So that was how they kicked off the DNC. Obviously, the reason why I smirk and laugh at that is because it's fake. She didn't receive a single vote. Not a single person there really wanted her and would have voted for her in a primary. You see her husband, Dougie is what she calls him, up on stage. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, you did, dude. Yes, you did. Everything about this campaign is fake. A couple more thoughts about President Trump, though, being a fighter. As I'm watching this video, I'm thinking about this. There are times where I will say to myself, well, why is he picking a fight with this person? We want to bring, we want those voters. All of that is, I recognize that. But at the same time, Trump is who he is because he's a fighter. Trump was able to build a successful company, beat a Bush and a Clinton in the same election cycle in 2016. Tens of thousands of employees work for President Trump. And by the way, those employees absolutely love working for the guy. He's got an amazing family, amazing kids, survived an assassination attempt, has been given no quarter by the media. In fact, our government is trying to cover up the assassination attempt through a lack of transparency, and the media is just completely papered over it as if it didn't happen. You have the director of the FBI planning hoaxes to these assassination hoaxers who believe that, Trump plotted the whole thing. I mean, you consider what the guy has been through, and then the fact that the deep state and these Democrats on the Hill are constantly not just attacking him, but attacking his family, who is not on the ballot. Don Jr., Eric, Ivanka, Tiffany, Barron. If it were up to these Democrats and the Biden DOJ, they would be in prison for a very, very long time. And so I wonder, how would we feel about President Trump if he wasn't punching back throughout all of that, if he wasn't rising to the defense of his family. When it's all said and done, I like and appreciate that Trump is a fighter. I like and appreciate that he is who he is. And while, hey, this is an election season, right? This is a big tent party. We want as many voters as we can in that tent. There is something about President Trump and his authenticity that I just admire. Like, on some level, Joe Rogan, the most, second now, I think, to Tucker Carlson, most successful podcast in the world, Trump's not afraid to say, bro, what are you thinking? So I don't know. You just got me thinking about that. So thanks again, Boston, for that. What else we got here? G. Fontes. Let me see. It wasn't close to that loud there when the Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup over my Tampa Bay Lightning. Was it? So wait, you're saying you're saying it was loud when. Anyway, let me know what you're thinking. It was loud there for the DNC. I don't know. Okay, so hanging over the convention, not only is this question of Josh Shapiro, why do you not pick him? The Democrats are anti-Semitic. All these pro-Hamas terrorist sympathizers outside, but also everybody in America is wondering what the hell happened with Joe Biden. Everybody, even independent voters. I guarantee you they're still wondering what the hell happened to Biden. Everybody knows that he's in cognitive decline. Everybody knows that he couldn't do the job. Everybody knows that Barack Obama and Pelosi were involved in some way, because there were articles written about Barack Obama and Nancy Pelosi being involved intimately. Kamala Harris as well threatened to initiate the 25th Amendment proceedings, kick him out of office. Of course, that's impossible without the vice president, because the vice president initiates all that stuff. So Kamala's obviously involved in all of that. And Pelosi got asked about this by Jake Tapper, aka Monica Lewinsky's boyfriend. And listen to what she says. Like, if you're watching the show, watch her body language and watch how she tries to stop Jake Tapper from even asking the question in the first place. Nancy Pelosi is a savage and she is a bully. And watch her try to preempt the question and stop Jake Tapper from asking it. Just check this out.
You know what?
Have you talked to him? Is my only question.
What I have to do.
Right.
He made the decision for the country. My concern was not about the president. It was about his campaign.
Hang on. I'm going to play that again. For some reason, it gets started late.
You know what?
Have you talked to him? Is my only question.
What I have to do.
Right.
He made the decision for the country. My concern was not about the president. It was about his campaign.
You see how she does this number? Like, something's up with the StreamYard software that I'm using. It's like a little delayed. But see how she throws her hands up to get him to stop asking, and Jake Tapper's like, oh gosh. Well, as Joe Biden was speaking last night, this fake chant, we love Joe started, and a camera panned to Nancy Pelosi, like looking very guilty as that chant rumbled through the arena. Check this out. She's just mouthing it. We love Joe. Like, yeah, you knife the guy in the back. So that brings me to Biden's speech. And Biden's speech, listen, I mean, obviously it was terrible. It was rambling. It was incoherent. But the Democrat Party did this guy real dirty. This is like, the president of the United States. I think he's an illegitimate president, but he's in the Oval Office nonetheless. They 100% at the DNC deliberately pushed this guy out of prime time so that America couldn't see him. People in Georgia couldn't see him. People in Pennsylvania couldn't see him. Biden didn't take the stage until 11:30. That is unbelievably late. And take it from me, someone who spoke in prime time at the Republican National Convention in 2020 with Trump on the ballot. I think I spoke at 8 p.m. or something that night on Monday. Monday is, in both conventions, is usually reserved for young up-and-comers, people that they see that might be the future of the party. And you got Biden. Not only you push the guy to 11:30 out of prime time, his speech wasn't over until day 2 of the convention. You put him on Monday with with young up-and-comers. It's just insult after insult after insult. But after watching the guy's speech, you can see why they did it. Just hate-filled, vile, filled with lies and outright hoaxes. Just look at this highlight reel we've got put together for you.
Women are not without electoral. Border encounters have dropped over 50%. In fact, there are fewer border crossings today than when Donald Trump left office. Donald Trump said, and I quote, "There are very fine people on both sides. My God." That's what he said. That is what he said and what he meant. Oh, from his own chief of staff, the 4-star General John Kelly, that Trump, when in Europe, would not go to the grave sites in France. The brave service members who gave their lives to this country. He called them suckers and losers. Who in the hell does he think he is? Who does he think he is? They're the ones we're going to bring back. That's not hyperbole. It's because Medicare no longer has to pay those exorbitant prices to the big pharma. Republicans, Democrats, we saved democracy in 2020, and now we must save it again in 2024. You know, we have 1,000 billionaires in America. He's promising a bloodbath if he loses, in his words.
I mean, you see, this is why I say that the Democrat Party in today's day and age are the party of hoaxes. You know, campaign slogan for Kamala should be hoaxes and vibes 2024, because that's all they have. In fact, Trump's name was mentioned like 142 times on the opening day of the convention. The economy was like 15, the border like 6. The Democrats have absolutely nothing. And his comment about, oh, we saved democracy, dude. You would think after the way that the Democrat Party did you, that you might use this opportunity to speak out against what's happening in this country, to speak out about how the Democrats shanked you, to say something. But no, Joe Biden's going to go out a liar. He's going to go out a blowhard. He's going to go out a coward. So you see, like, this is the same Joe Biden it's been the same Joe Biden for the last 50 years in Washington. You see, when Joe Biden was younger, he was just able to fake it. He was able to put a smile on his face. Maybe he was a little bit more articulate. But now that Joe Biden is in the throes of what is very grave cognitive decline, all that other stuff, all that pretense, the veneer is completely worn away. And all you see is a rotten, vile, cold heart on the inside of who he is. He's a divisive liar. He's always been a divisive, blowhard liar. And he's going out like that too, completely disrespected by his party, regurgitating the fine people hoax, regurgitated the bloodbath hoax, regurgitated the losers and suckers hoax, regurgitated outright falsehoods that somehow border crossings were lower under the Biden administration than they were under the Trump administration. And on top of all of this, remember that pro-Hamas guy that said any Palestinian that's out there supports Hamas? Like, Biden from the stage said, oh yeah, they got a point. Like, what the hell is America becoming? Okay, so we got to talk about another insane liar. Seriously, absolutely insane. In Tim Walz, 2 more massive, huge lies came out about this whack job psycho. I'm going to expose both of those lies here in a second and show you what I mean. But let me tell you about SWEETAMINE. I've been taking SWEETAMINE for months now. It's amazing. I love it. I'm never going to stop taking it. If you're suffering from chronic pain, you should really consider looking into SWEETAMINE. SWEETAMINE works because it's comprised of an amino acid called glycine, and that's the nutrient that our immune system uses to regulate inflammation. Most of the diseases that make people sick and die these days are rooted also in chronic inflammation due to a glycine deficiency. Now, there are people in the battle crew, in the live chat, that are taking SWEETAMINE that absolutely love it. Listen to their testimony in the live chat. Like, I wouldn't be pushing this stuff on you if it didn't work. I tried it. It works. It's great. It's not like an opiate-based pain medication. It works slowly over time. So it takes a few days to build up in your system. Some people feel results after just a few days. It took me about a week, but once daily serving of SWEETAMINE provides 8 grams of glycine, and that's enough to stop all excess inflammation right where it starts. You can take SWEETAMINE in a protein shake. You can take it in a smoothie. It's great for recovery after workouts. You can sprinkle it on your cereal. Take it any way that you want. All natural SWEETAMINE has no sugar, no carbs, only 24 calories, and it's great. It's perfectly safe for diabetics as well. You can get SWEETAMINE online at sweetamine.com, SWEETAMINE.com, or call 855-GET-SWEET. That's 855-438-7933. So SWEETAMINE.com, 855-GET-SWEET, or 855-438-7933. 12-day challenge trial pack of SWEETAMINE, only $19.95, free shipping. Use the promo code Sean, S-E-A-N, and you save $5. Also, let me see if I can get this. Reaching across my desk. My desk is huge. Beard Vet Coffee, another great sponsor of the show. It's a company founded by veterans, okay? A portion of the proceeds of every bit of this coffee goes back to veterans and their families, which is really, it's a cause that's really important to me. Commander Melanie and I drink this coffee every single day. We love it. It's the best coffee in the world. We drink the roll call blend, but they got all sorts of flavors. The roll call blend is their morning roast. It's their strongest coffee, but they've got dark roast. They got everything. They got vanilla flavored coffee. But if you go to beardvet.com, and the promo code Battleground, you save 15%. And I think you get free shipping as well. But check it out, beardvet.com. This coffee's amazing, and we're grateful to have them as a sponsor on the show as well. Okay, Tim Walz. I got to tell you about Tim Walz. So Tim Walz has this vast array of wild and crazy lies. And remember when I told you at the very beginning that it's like 24 hours into the Walz announcement as VP, and people were already calling him out for stolen valor. And then the stolen valor story got worse and worse over time. And then it came out that Tim Walz actually lied about getting a DUI, blamed it on hearing issues in the National Guard, blamed the cop, blamed the judge, said it was dismissed, that he wasn't charged at all. Really, he was charged and convicted of going at 96 miles an hour at a 55 mile an hour zone. But now what Tim Walz is, well, he's not. He's lying about his family getting IVF treatment to conceive children. Here's Tim Walz talking about how lucky he was, and of course attacking J.D. Vance, even though J.D. Vance and Donald Trump are not against IVF, like in vitro fertilization. Like, they're not against that at all. They've said it many times. So Walz is both, one, lying about the fact that he used IVF to conceive. Number two, attacking J.D. Vance and Trump for being against it, even though they're not. So listen to this.
Today's IVF day. Thank God for IVF. My wife and I have 2 beautiful children. He thinks he needs to dictate that. And I've been saying this, the golden rule that makes small towns work so we're not at each other's throats all the time in a little town is mind your own damn business. I don't need him to tell me about my family. I don't need to tell him about my wife's health care and her reproductive rights. I don't need him telling my children what books they can read. He's fired to do that with whatever he wants, but I'm not interested in it. And I think rural America is, they are angry.
Here's Tim Walz on the campaign trail talking about, now keep in mind, this is just over a couple of weeks. Here's Tim Walz on the campaign trail talking about IVF.
When we wanted to have children, we went through years of fertility treatment. And I remember it was like it was yesterday, just waiting for good news. And then the phone would ring and you would be tensed up. And then you would hear that the treatments had failed. It would blot out the sun. that you just wanted something so beautiful and so simple to have a child. And then one day, and it wasn't by chance, when that news came and we welcomed our daughter into the world, we named her Hope. We named her Hope. I'm not crying, you're crying, so.
That was Walz in Arizona. Here he is again.
When we wanted to have children, we went through years of fertility treatment. And I remember it was like it. Look, that includes IVF.
Sorry, that was the wrong video. Listen to this one. I think this is Walz in Philadelphia.
Look, that includes IVF. And this gets personal for me and my family. When my wife and I decided to have children, we spent years going through infertility treatments. And I remember praying every night for a call for good news. The pit in my stomach when the phone rang, and the agony when we heard that the treatments hadn't worked. So it wasn't by chance that when we welcomed our daughter into the world, we named her Hope. When Vice President and I talk about freedom, we mean the freedom to make your own healthcare decisions.
IVF gets personal for him. It gets personal for him. How about in Wisconsin? Tim Walz, last couple of weeks talking about IVF. Listen.
Some of you might have heard this. This is very personal for my wife and I. When Gwen and I decided to have children, we went through years of fertility treatments. And I remember each night praying that the call was going to come and it was going to be good news. The phone would ring, tenseness in my stomach, and then the agony when you heard the treatments hadn't worked. So it wasn't by chance that when we welcomed our first child, our beautiful daughter, we named her Hope.
So you get the gist, right? So here's the New York Times, just came out admitting the truth. Unlike in vitro fertilization, the procedure used by the Walzes does not involve freezing embryos. So there's that. But do you see how the New York Times almost covers for him, right? Here's on CNN. Minnesota First Lady Gwen Walz clarified in a statement to CNN that she did not use in vitro fertilization to conceive. Here's another thing I'd like to address. Do you notice how the Democrats campaign? They tell stories. They generate an emotional response. This is actually something that I think Republicans could learn something from. I mean, I'm not saying they should lie like ass clowns like Tim Walz. But 500,000 people showed up on the Washington Mall for Martin Luther King Jr. because he had a dream. He did not have a 10-point plan. Republicans talk an awful lot about a 10-point plan. Okay? If we're conservatives right here on this show, we're pro-Constitution, we're pro-Second Amendment, we're pro-secure border, we're pro-law enforcement, we're pro-military. Like all of this stuff is generally assumed to be true. Your task as a Republican is how do you tell an emotional story that conveys those principles to the country, to the people that you're supposed to represent. Democrats do this far better than Republicans. Now, Republicans can do it too if they just freaking learn. But nevertheless, this is an updated list of all the lies that Tim Walz has told since being selected as vice presidential candidate. He's definitely not a head football coach. He lied about being deaf and getting a DUI. He lied about carrying weapons into war. He lied about knowing his unit was going to be deployed. Obviously about IVF. He lied about his rank. Remember, being a command sergeant major. They lied about being an Afghanistan veteran. And also, the latest lie to come out, and this is just the latest one in a long list that I just read you. It's about a nasty slur against Minnesotans for not seasoning their food. Well, apparently, Walz won a recipe contest in 2016 for making his spiced turkey taco hot dish. Spiced turkey taco hot dish. Now, doesn't sound like something that I would eat, but clearly Minnesotans and Tim Walz himself spices his food. Where does it stop, folks? You lie about IFB, you lie about your service. Now you're lying about the people of your state and what they eat and what they don't eat. And here you are, hypocrite of the century, making spiced turkey taco hot dish. I don't even know what the hell that is. But yes, Tim Walz is a liar. Okay, I got to talk about the Democrat rhetoric and how they're ratcheting things up, and we'll take that. We'll finish the show up that way. Seriously, they're ratcheting up their rhetoric, and I hope that Trump ratchets up his security team because the Democrats, they're the party of violence, and they ain't stopping anytime soon. I'll just say that. Let me tell you about My Patriot Supply. I'm a proud American, and that means if you come after me, you come after my family, I'll be ready. You bet your ass I'll be ready. That's why I rely on My Patriot Supply. Their mega 3-month emergency food kit comes jam-packed with 33 varieties of filling and delicious foods. Not only does that include creamy chicken-flavored rice, old-fashioned Italian spaghetti, and savory, cheesy broccoli soup, but you also get a bonus protein kit with diced beef, flavorful chicken chunks, and 3 varieties of beans. I'm laughing because the song that my kids used to sing about beans. But 9 different fruits, vegetables, and snacks. All in all, this emergency food kit provides a whopping 2,500 calories per day to keep you well-fed and ready for anything. And the way I see it, it's my solemn duty as an American to protect my family without waiting on handouts. I believe in this. I've been talking about it even before I started promoting My Patriot Supply. Get survival food. Make sure you have enough water. Be hard to kill. I should get a shirt that says it, right? Be hard to kill. That means be physically fit. Know how to handle firearms. Know how to use a knife, right? Have a generator. Have survival food. Have water. But also be well-read. Have good relationships. Do everything that you can to make you tougher, make you stronger. If you see something that makes you uncomfortable, something that you don't want to do, oh man, that would really suck. I don't really feel like doing it. Lean into it. Do it anyway. Be hard to kill. So all of this starts with My Patriot Supply. Food that you can depend on for 25 years. So go to preparewithbnn.com right now to save $300 on your mega 3-month emergency food kit. That is preparewithbnn.com. It ships fast and free. Preparewithbnn.com. You save $300 on your kit. Again, preparewithbnn.com. Seriously, check out My Patriot Supply. They are awesome. Also, debt. Debt sucks. My family's in debt. And in the Biden economy, millions of Americans are in debt as well. It consumes you. You go to bed thinking about it. You wake up thinking about it. The truth is our system, our American system, traps us in debt. High interest credit cards, loans make it nearly impossible to pay off your debt. And insane inflation keeps you stuck paycheck to paycheck. Done with Debt really could be your lifeline. If you're struggling, nothing to be ashamed about, just give them a call. Done with Debt has an ingenious new strategy to help you erase your debt faster and easier than you thought possible. Done with Debt analyzes all of the debt options that you qualify for. They know how to reduce bills. They know how to cut interest rates. Their skilled staff of negotiators know how to get debt out of your life permanently without bankruptcy and without a loan. Done with Debt are the experts in brilliant strategies for eliminating debt, but you need to hurry because some debt solutions are time sensitive. Here's how easy they make it. Go to donewithdebt.com. That is donewithdebt.com. Select VNN from this little menu that you select VNN at checkout. That's donewithdebt.com. VNN stands for Vigilant News Network. Again, that's donewithdebt.com. Okay, folks, the Democrats are not ratcheting down their rhetoric, and I hope that President Trump, by contrast, is ratcheting up his security. Also, make sure you smash that like button, that little green thumb beneath the video, smash it. Let's get on the leaderboard. Okay, look at Bashir, he's a governor, I think, from the state of Kentucky, wishing for J.D. Vance or talking about J.D. Vance's family and how they should maybe experience being raped. I mean, I'm not even exaggerating. Listen.
I mean, think about what some people have had to go through because of these laws. J.D. Vance calls pregnancy resulting from rape inconvenient. Like, inconvenience is traffic. I mean, make him go through this.
Make him go through this. Now, Bashir came out and said, well, no, J.D. Vance is deflecting. Because J.D. Vance was like, WTF, man? Like, you want somebody in my family to experience rape? And rather than apologizing and say, I misspoke, he made it about J.D. Vance deflecting. But you heard the soundbite for yourself. He said he needs to experience something like this. That's horrific. It's evil. And some whack job Democrat out there is listening. And it wasn't just Bashir. It was also Raphael Warnock, senator from Georgia. Listen.
Donald Trump's America is the America of January 6th. People who have no vision traffic in division. He does not know how to lead us, and so he wants to divide us. America, make no mistake, Donald Trump is a plague on the American conscience. He is a clear and present threat to the precious cup.
He is a clear and present threat? The dude just survived an assassination attempt, came within millimeters of his death, and this is how the Democrats talk. This is why I say, because the media and anytime these leftist, radical, crazy people try to kill one of us, whether it's shoot up a baseball field, almost kill Steve Scalise, attack Rand Paul at his home, try to assassinate President Trump, rioting all across the country with Antifa. The left, they're the party of violence. And anytime one of these whack job leftists commits an act of violence against a Republican, everyone just wants a cooling of the rhetoric. Oh gosh, we just need to dial it back a little bit. Like, no, I don't trust you when you say that, because the left ain't gonna dial back anything. We don't accept olive branches from disingenuous, bad faith, violent hacks. We're not gonna do it. You see how the left is talking? They're not dialing anything back. So we have to guard ourselves accordingly. And I know President Trump has ratcheted up the security on his team as well. So say a prayer for President Trump. Say a prayer for J.D. Vance. Say a prayer for this country. We have to sprint to the finish. We have to sprint to the finish. So, okay. Made it through lots of information in just a little bit over an hour. Thank you all for being with me. Savage Rich Barris tomorrow on Savage Wednesday is on deck. And then guess what? On Thursday, Right Night with Brian Dean Wright. So we have an amazing next few shows to get us over hump day and close out the week. Be there with us here live on Battleground Live. We love having you here in the live chat. If you're listening on iHeart, we love you there as well. As always, folks, God bless you. God bless you all, and God bless this amazing country that we call home. Smash that like button, that little green thumb on your way out, and I will see you tomorrow night. God bless.